Let's practice adding and subtracting fractions. We have 2/3 minus 1/2. Subtracting fractions is very similar to adding fractions. We make the bottoms the same. Let's make the common denominator a 6, because 3 times 2 is 6, and then 2 times 2 is going to be 4. 2 times 3 is 6, so we hold that 3 as our fingers. 3 times 1 is going to be 3. Now we can combine these all over 6. 4 minus 3 is going to be a 1. So that's our final answer. Now question number 2 is a bit harder because there's 3 parts. Let's simply go left to right very carefully. So 5 and 2. We could do this first, or we can just try to find a common denominator for all of these. Now you could multiply it. 5 times 2 is 10. And then 10 times 3 is 30. That's just one way of doing it, multiplying all the numbers. So we'll just use 30 for now. So 30 plus something over 30 minus something over 30. 5 times 6 is going to be 30. 6 times 3 is 18. So this is a little bit harder because we're dealing with bigger numbers. 2 times 15 is 30. 15 times 1 is going to be 15. And 3 times 10 is going to be 30. So 10 times 2 is going to be 20. So the final answer is going to be over 30. And this is where we simply go 18 plus 15 minus 20. So one way of doing it is thinking 15 minus 20 is going to be negative 5. And what we have is 18 and negative 5. 18 minus 5 is going to be 13. And there's our final answer. Let's move on to this one here. We have a mixed fraction here actually. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is going to be 3. 3 over 2 minus 10 over 3. We have to make the bottoms the same. So let's choose the denominator 6, the LCM. So 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 10 is going to be 20. I'm going to copy the denominator over. 9 minus 20, be careful, it's going to be a negative number. Negative what? It's going to be the bigger number smaller than the smaller number, which is going to be 11. And there's our final answer. So again, how do we do this one here? Let's think of the number 2 as 2 over 1. And let's find a common denominator. You can multiply the numbers. 5 times 2 is 10, times 1 is still 10. So we're going to say this is going to be all over 10 minus 10 plus 10. So we're multiplying by 10 here. So 2 times 10 is 20. We're multiplying by 5 here. 5 times 3 is 15. Multiplying by 2 here. So 2 times 1 is going to be 2. And so the answer, 20 minus 15 is going to be 5 plus 2 is going to be 7. There's our final answer. So what about 2, 3, and 5? We could just multiply them. So we have 3 times 5 is 15, times 2 is going to be 30. We have something over 30 plus something over 30 minus something over 30. So 2 times 15 is 30. 15 times 1 is 15. 3 times 10 is 30. 10 times 2 is 20. 5 times 6 is 30. And the question is, what's 6 times 12? You can always do some scratch work on the side here. 2 times 6 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6. And you add one more, it's going to be 72. So now that you have a common denominator, you can combine it all. And what we have here is we have some big numbers you have to be careful about. 15 plus 20 is going to be 35. And what we have up here is a negative 72 or a minus 72. Now be really careful. You have $35 and you spend 72, you have negative money for sure. Negative what? It's going to be the bigger number smaller minus a smaller number. So 72 take away 35. 12 minus 5 is going to be 7. You borrow some energy, so that becomes a 6. 6 minus 3 is going to be 3. So we have Negative 37 over 30. Be careful.